you are listening to, you are absolutely listening to the George Espenlaub Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm. Now, with no further ado, here comes Georgie!
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, my goodness, Aunt Sally. Oh, my. My, oh, my, oh, my, oh, my. Wow. You're all goofy anyhow. Hey, listen. You are listening to the George Espenlaub Show live right here in a place called Our World at the Funny Farm. That's right. We're at the Funny Farm. It's Friday night, but we're going to get real serious here. Excuse me. We're going to get real serious here in just a moment. But whether you're down the street, around the corner, across America, or somewhere around this great big world, I thank you for taking the time this Friday night of tuning in. Please reach out with whatever device you reach out with nowadays. Reach out to people and tell them, remind them, let them know that the George Espenlaub Show is now live right here on Spreaker.com. And we're smattered, that's an Espenlaub word, we're smattered all over the place. iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, Google, VIP Network, Intunes, iTunes, whatever it's called, TuneIn, and all those other places. We're so many places we don't really know where we are half the time. But that's the way it is around here at the Funny Farm. But nonetheless, I do want to say this, and then we're going to get right into tonight's show. We are in the process, and I will say this before we go off the air. We're in the process of adding at least 2, if not 3, new programs on the George Espenlaub Show. So stay tuned. We'll either be announcing what they are over the weekend or the early part of next week. But we're excited to be able to, as we know of right now, we're excited that we're going to be able to bring at least 2, if not 3, new programs here on the George Espenlaub Show. And I think that you will enjoy them. We have people from all walks of life coming on our show as guests, and we have programs for people of all walks of life. So we are reaching out to the masses. We want you to help us reach the masses near, far, and wide, down the street, around the corner, across America, and around the world. And I thank each and every one of you that's been helping us over the years to reach a bigger audience and make our show even better. Here's what we're going to be doing tonight. Last Friday night, 1 week ago tonight, we live streamed a show to YouTube and into our Facebook page, into our George Espenlaub Show page. We live streamed a show with a man by the name of Anthony Randle, who wrote a book entitled Husband, a Best Friend, and Caregiver. What a tremendous, tremendous story. And you are going to hear from the beginning, when we got this thing going, after we got it going. You'll hear the Espenlaub bloop right in the beginning. But we want to take you in so you can hear the audio of this tremendous, tremendous man who wrote this wonderful, wonderful book. There are a lot of folks that perhaps didn't see the live stream last Friday night. That's why we're bringing the audio up tonight and running it on the radio. And so, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, and countrymen, sit back, relax, because you are going to hear something that will grip your heart and make you sit up and pay attention. Here we go. Last Friday night. Really, we are going to take off in just one moment. In fact, we've already taken off. We just need to see what's going on. There it is. Hey, everybody, after Espenlaub got the right buttons pushed in the right place, we're live, and it's Friday night. And for you that have been listening for years by the way of radio and recently by the way of live streaming, you know that anything, I mean anything, I don't know if the good Lord above knows what could happen on a Friday night here at the Funny Farm. But I want to tell you something. As I tell you every night, we have two goals in mind. One is to bring a smile to your face, maybe even perhaps make you laugh. I don't know the dark, deep valleys you might be facing, the storms in your life. I don't know if you're on the mountaintop or somewhere down in that valley. But I sure hope if you spend some time with us tonight, we'll put a smile on your face, maybe make you laugh. And our other goal is simply to make you as goofy as the rest of us. Sometimes they're a little bit late with their laugh. But anyhow, we have a tremendous show tonight planned for you. We invite you to come in, participate, put your comments up there, ask questions, and go tell a friend. With all these devices we have to hook up nowadays, call them, email them, private message them, whatever it takes. Might even be as simple as walking outside and talking over the fence to the neighbor and saying, hey, the George Espenlaub Show is live right now from the Funny Farm. And so, whether you're down the street, around the corner, across America, or somewhere around this great big world, I'm just delighted, and everyone here at the Funny Farm is delighted to have you sit back and enjoy the ride, because this is going to be a wonderful, wonderful show. And I thank you for taking the time to be with us on this Friday night. Oh, I just love that. I just love that. I just love that. Hey, remember, we've got a thing going on here. Let me pull Anthony's book down here for just a second. We've got a thing going on here at the George Espenlaub Show. Anthony, I'm going to bring up our new hire. We have a new hire here at the Funny Farm.
Okay.
He's a drummer, and I call him Dude. And we are interested in people suggesting a name for Dude. Now, we could either keep his name Dude if people so choose, or we can change it to Ralph, Pete, whatever. But we want people to participate, and I'm going to present Dude to you in just a second, Anthony.
Okay.
It's only about 30 seconds, but everybody here at the Funny Farm gets a voice, and everyone is an individual, and they get to express themselves. You know, it's good to express yourself. So we're going to bring Dude up here. Now, remember, We need people to suggest a name. Either keep his name as Dude or give him a new name. And here's how you do it. Either PM me at my Facebook page, The George Espenlaub Show, just private message me and tell me, I suggest his name is whatever, or I suggest we keep it at whatever. Or email me at georgece@comcast.net. That's georgece@comcast.net. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for a very short time, but he's earning his keep, here is Dude for now. He really gets into it, Anthony.
He was.
We have a longer video of him where he really stretches out and gets to banging real good. We'll play that later. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans and countrymen, if you want his name to stay Dude, just email me, georgece@comcast.net, or PM me off of the George Espenlaub Show page on Facebook and say, keep it at Dude, or we want to call him Pete, Ralph, whatever, your suggestion. And we'll take all these things into consideration, and that's the way it will be. So much for Dude. Thank you for bearing with me, Anthony.
Oh, no problem.
I told you this is the funny farm, and it sometimes get a little wacky around here, but it's all right. We come from a place called Our World. We don't know where it's at, Anthony.
Yeah.
We don't really care where it's at. All we know is that we live here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we don't have no tangible address. We never did. We don't. And as far as I know, we're never going to get one. So we're pretty content right here at the Funny Farm.
Gotcha.
But I do have to warn you, my friend, many people have come to the Funny Farm over the years. Very few has left. So we'll just let it there like that, okay?
All right.
All righty. Excuse me. I'm still fighting this cold. Let me see what comments we have up here before we get cranked up.
Okay.
There is our good friend from down in Arkansas, Cassandra. And she says, good evening, everyone. And so then with that, it was so important that, and Miss Cassandra, I'm just busting on you right now. She said it again. Good evening, everyone. Maybe she thought we didn't hear you. I got you, Cassandra. She's a good friend. I just talked to her on the telephone this afternoon. She's a fine, fine friend and a great, great lady. So there we go. So everybody, don't be afraid. Sometimes people sit in the background and they watch, which was wonderful. It's wonderful. But come on in, say hello. If you say nothing else but hello, come on in. And Anthony can see the comments. I can see the comments. Y'all can see the comments. And we'll just have a great old time. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans and countrymen, lend me both of your ears because, seriously, this is a tremendous, tremendous man. He is a tremendous, tremendous author. I don't know how many of you got a chance to read the previews and the sample of his book, but Anthony, I read that this afternoon, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I had tears in my eyes when I read that. I heard your heartbeat, brother, and I thought, wow, I am so glad that Anthony Randle, Randle, that's how I say it, Randle, right?
Yes, Randle.
I'm so glad that Anthony Randle is with us tonight. Miss Cassandra, she said, I wasn't going to miss this. And I don't blame you, Cassandra.
Thank you, Cassandra.
I don't blame you one bit. Anthony, before we go any further, let me put this up here. And ladies and gentlemen, if you go to Amazon.com and then just type search in the search box up there, husband, best friend, and caregiver, Anthony's book will pop right up in front of you. And Anthony, am I correct in saying that they can get the paperback and it's on Kindle also?
Yes, yes, it is.
So there you got it. Cassandra, there's another read for you. She loves to read. And I would bet $6 to a donut that she'll have this one before it's all said and done with. But go to Amazon.com, type in the search box, husband, best friend, and caregiver, and Anthony's book will jump right up there, and we'll put this up there periodically throughout the show. Let me move this down out of here. That's the wrong one. Espenlaub always blowing something up, making something wrong. But eventually we get it. Who else is in here? My mom Espenlaub's in here. Where'd she go? She's talking. Cassandra's talking to her, and she's talking to Cassandra. And Cassandra said, "I'll be reading it after the show." I knew it.
Cool.
I knew it. I knew it. Wow. So, Anthony, tell us a little bit about yourself. Will you do that?
Yes, yes. I'm originally from Texas. I'm from Texarkana, Texas. I lived in Vegas and now reside in El Paso, Texas. I'm a contractor, a government contractor right now, working with a company that works on the UAVs. I have my beautiful wife here, and I have a 28-year-old son, which is his name is Anthony Jr., and he also does contracting with me. He works for another company. So, and then I have my two bulldogs here, Mia and Bear, and like I said, we live here in El Paso.
Now, if I read it correctly, you correct me if I'm wrong. Bear is similar to you.
Yes.
Muscular.
Yes, he is.
and the other one takes
is
a real shine to your wife.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I thought I read that right.
Yeah.
I thought about those. Animals have some great instincts.
They do.
And when you mentioned that the one would do a certain thing, you wondered if that dog had already known
Yes.
that things wasn't quite right.
Yeah, it was Mia. Mia was hanging around Jess, and she was sniffing on her more than normal, especially when she sat down and she was face to face with Jess, and she would just sniff around her and stuff, and then they would lay like at her feet, and which they normally wouldn't do. So it's like they was trying to tell us, they were trying to tell us something. So,
wow.
Mm-hmm.
When I read the first part of that sample, I was struck. Number one, I want to compliment you on your complete honesty. I want to compliment you on the fact that you laid yourself vulnerable in front of God and everybody. And I have a saying, and I know people probably get tired of hearing it, but this is what I'll usually say, Anthony. When I meet people, I listen for their heartbeat.
Yes.
If I can hear their heartbeat, I know there's no plastic facade, there's no pretense.
Yeah.
They're for real.
Mm-hmm.
And I want them to hear my heartbeat. So if you hear heartbeat to heartbeat, not just head to head,
Yes.
heartbeat to heartbeat,
Mm-hmm.
there's something going on there.
Yes.
And my friend, I've heard your heartbeat. And now you're not only someone that is coming on the George Espenlaub show, you are now and forever my friend. I don't know if that's good or bad, but anyhow, you're my friend.
Thank you, George. I greatly appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about what happened.
Well, we were overseas at the time, and we were taking vacation, and I left first because of our job, what our job entailed. My wife's job was a little bit more entailed than my job was. So I ended up leaving early, probably like just a week early. So before I had left, we thought she had strained her rib cage from picking up her computer bag. And that's kind of where we left it. But when she came home, the strain actually got worse. So the one night, I woke up and Jess was crying, and she's very tough, and she doesn't complain about anything. Like I said before, she's the heartbeat of our family. She's that strong-willed individual that keeps me and my son together, and and keep the household level and everything.
And keeps you straight, right?
Yes, and keep me straight. Yeah, you're exactly right.
I figured I better throw that in because if I didn't, I might get in trouble.
I got you. Yeah, no problem. No problem. So that night, like I said, I woke up and she was crying and stuff, and she was complaining about her side. So, I picked her up and I put her in the car, and then we went to the emergency room. And once we went to the emergency room, I don't know, George, but I knew it. I knew something was wrong. So when they wheeled her in the back, and I was sitting there in the waiting room, sitting there thinking like, you know, I guess kind of asking what are we finna get ready to go through, or what's going on, or something like that. And I remember putting my hands in my face, and I was like, man, I wish somebody could have wrote a book of what we're finna get ready to go through. And at the time, the nurse came out and she got me, and she just had this sad look on her face. So when I went in the room, you know, the doctor was in there, and he was explaining to me and my wife that she had stage 4 breast cancer, and he was sorry that he had to give us the news and everything, and then he asked me to step outside. So once we stepped outside, he was explaining to me about how his mom, he was 18 years old, and he was taking his mom around to different hospitals and doctors and stuff, and she had stage 4 cancer. And he said, do me a favor. He said, please don't give up on your wife. He said, I'm 40 something years old. And he said, I still bear that because I was a teenager at the time, and I didn't have the patience with my mom, and my mom could see that. And, his mom told him to just let her go because it was taking a toll on him. And he said, now that he looks back on it, he wished he could have just fought for his mom and just pushed everything aside. And he said, he told me again, he said, don't give up on your wife. And he just instantly started crying. And he said, I'm going to admit your wife into the doctor so she can see 2 specialists. And then they will be here in the morning to see her. So then that's when he, went off and admitted her into the hospital that night. So, but when I went back in the room to talk to my wife, she had just this look on her face, like this blank look. And I think she was just processing everything. And, and she said the funniest thing to me at that time. And she was like, you know what? She said, it's funny. I said, what you mean? She said, how's it that I skipped over stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and went straight to stage 4? She was like, well, you know what? She said, we'll get through this. And I was like, okay. And, when we get real emotional, no matter if it's a man or a woman, you get it's that lump that hits your throat. Mm-hmm. And I felt it, and I couldn't say anything. So that's when I went in the bathroom, and I'll be the first to admit, I literally broke down in the bathroom, but I didn't want her to know it. So I act like I was in there using the bathroom, and I flushed the toilet, washed my hands and everything. And I came out and tried to have the best face I possibly could at that time. And then that's when the nurses, they came in, and they took her up to her room and everything. So,
Anthony, there's somebody I think that knows you. Jefferson Purcell said, "What's up, Aunt? Hello, Jessica."
Oh, okay. All right.
And then here's another one. Hi, Anthony. Great book. We love you and Jess.
That's actually the wife of that actually my wife's nutrition, and they have the Wardy Wellness Center here in El Paso. And I'm telling you right now, they're a good husband and wife team, and they care about the people that they take care of, and they have been a blessing to me and my wife, actually. So
Let me ask you this, Anthony.
yes.
My wife, I think it was in 2012, was diagnosed with lymphonia, or yeah,
Hmm.
but there was a lump on her neck,
Yes.
and we went, and the doctor did a biopsy, and it came back, it was malignant. Uh,
Hmm.
and then he did some surgery, and then she went through some chemo.
Yes.
I know when we got the word, when we heard that word cancer,
Yes.
uh, and I guess we all know someone. I'm sure we all know someone
Hmm.
that has faced this monster down.
Yes.
But when we heard it, it was like we went numb,
Yes. That's exactly the feeling. Yeah. When we went now.
and it was like, am I hearing this right?
Hmm.
Did I hear this right?
Yes.
Did this doctor just say that? And all these things, and then this overwhelming flood of emotions uh,
Hmm.
that's coming at you from all sides. I'm sure you felt the same way.
Yes, I did. Yes, it was definitely overwhelming, and plus, once those emotions hit me, like I said, I didn't know I had PTSD. So at the same time, I was dealing with something internal that I wasn't willing to say anything to anybody about. So later on, that's when I found out I had it. So I was battling that. Plus, I had to deal with that, and then you know literally move that out of the way to help my wife. So, and I was able to do that.
I'm sure that I know the answer to this question, but once all those emotions start rolling in, I mean, it's got to be like a tsunami coming.
Yes, it is. And the thing is, like you said, we know a lot of people that have cancer, and we know a lot of people that passed away from it. So of course your mind, it goes into that whole type of negative thing, because that's all you've experienced or heard with cancer is, somebody passing away.
Mhm.
So that automatically went up in my head. Even though I didn't want it to go in my head, it automatically went there. So, you know,
When those emotions, like a tsunami, just all of a sudden rush in, uh, and they overwhelm you.
mhm.
Uh, Number one, your head is like there's a whirlwind in there, a tornado in there, and
Yes,
nothing can stop long enough for you to process it.
yes,
Uh, you're just a physically mental train wreck
yes.
when something like that. What about
Mhm.
Jesse? What was
You know what, Jess? Like I said, when she had that stare moment, it's like she was processing everything, and she processed it so quickly that she was at the point where she was like, and I remember her words, where she was saying, as far as like, she didn't say anything about fighting it. She didn't say anything about beating it down or anything like that. She said, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna come up with a plan, and we're gonna go from there. And I was just like, okay, like I said, and I guess the best way I could describe my wife, she just kind of went into this this special forces moment where she was like getting ready to go into battle. She just zoned out, like, so she knew exactly what she wanted to happen and what she wanted the process to be. And it was like when she said that, including what she said in the doctor's office, when the doctor told her, said, "Hey, I can mix all the drugs any type of way I want." But she said, if you don't have the will to live, then you won't live. And as soon as she told my wife that, my wife looked at her, like I said, with that stern look, and said, "Well, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I have a son to raise. I need to be here for my husband, and it was like she just put that command out, and her body listened.
I the individuals that I know and loved ones in the family that face cancer, I was always amazed. Uh, I wasn't surprised when you said that about your wife, uh, but I'm always amazed because it seems like the person that has the affliction,
Hmm.
all of a sudden, like you said, they process it
Yes,
and they get into this plan of attack.
yes,
Uh, I'm still over here. I'm a basket case,
yeah, hmm,
and it takes me, 16 ways from last Sunday to try to get about half right.
yes,
And it seems to me like now here's the person that has this disease, and they got it all together already. What's wrong?
yeah.
What's wrong with me? Did you feel that way?
Yeah, I did. I did. I was just like, wow, like what's going on with me? And I'm like, and she just like I said, she just processed everything like so fast. And it's funny because on the way back here, like I said, I only been home for like a week. I was over in Iraq, and I ran into a stewardess, and she literally was telling me her story, how her daughter was 3 years old. Her son was 5, and her husband found out that she had stage 3 cancer, and he walked away from the family, like literally walked out the door. And she said her brain literally went into this mode, like, I have my kids to take care of. And next thing you know, her whole mindset went into this process. And she said the same thing my wife said. She was like, I'm not going anywhere. I have my kids to raise. So it's like she put in that command, and next thing you know, and her kids are right now, they're going to college.
Wow.
Hmm.
The doctor that talked to you that night out in the hallway,
Yes,
uh, he must have been quite a fella.
he definitely was, especially for him to share his story and to tell me, not to give up on my wife. And like I said, he was trying to explain all this, and he was just crying, and he was just telling me, hey, don't give up, because he said, like I said, he's in his 40s, and that happened when he was 18 and 19, and that's still with him. That's still in his heart.
When when did this take place?
This took place in 2014.
2014, and here we are, 5 years up the road.
Mm.
Uh, and Miss Cassandra said this: "We serve an awesome God."
Yes, we do.
There's no other way to put it. Uh,
Hmm.
Skeptics, agnostics, whoever, whatever.
Yes.
But the fact still remains: we serve an awesome God. Thank you, Cassandra, for saying that and allowing us to put that up. When you went home after you spent the night at the hospital and your son came and then you went home and you stopped at your neighbors
Yes.
and you shared with them. Number one, you were physically and mentally exhausted by this time.
Yes.
And you said that when you walked up that steep driveway, you had to put your hand on your leg as and I've climbed hills like that. You had to put
Hmm.
your hand on each leg as you made the step up.
Yeah.
You were weary,
Hmm.
uh, but yet you took the time to go in and break the news to your close friends,
Yes.
and then you told the story. You told what had taken place, and they were broken.
Yes. Yes, they were.
By the time you left there, you went home, and Bear and what was it, Mia?
Yeah, Bear and Mia.
Bear and Mia was ready to greet you, but they
Hmm.
also knew something was wrong, didn't they?
They did, because when I came home without Jess, they knew it. They knew something was wrong.
And then you got that little bit of sleep,
Hmm.
and you went back. The doctor, was it a lady doctor,
Yes, it was a lady doctor. Mhm.
that said she was concerned about two tumors on the liver.
Yes.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, the two tumors on her liver, they had swelled up because my wife is like 5'2", so she's not a big woman, and they said the tumors had swelled up so big that it swelled up her liver, and her liver hit her rib cage. So that's what we thought was the strain, but her liver has expanded to where it hit her rib cage, and it was pressed up against her rib cage, and it was the size. Both of them were the size of $50.
Mm. And then that chemotherapy stuff started.
Yes, yes. The chemo started, and man, like I said, if you don't know anybody that went through chemo or anything like that, uh, we I remember going off in this room, and it was probably about 60 to 70 chairs in there, and they were all full. There were probably about 3 or 4 men, and the rest were women. And the sad thing about it, all of them were by themselves, and I was the only one in there with my wife. And and a lot of them watched us as we walked to the back. It was to the far right to go and sit down. And my wife, I know they was kind of looking at her because she was like, she looked super healthy, and they were like, kind of, what are they doing in here? And because a lot of them, when they were coming in, once we sat down, you can see them in wheelchairs. They were just barely alive. Some of them was on crutches. Some of them had walkers. But the thing was, I noticed like when the family members did come in there with them, they left them in there by themselves and stuff. And it was a pretty sad sight to see.
A lot of sad things when it comes to these things that we face in life and these terrible diseases. I don't know if there's anything worse. The disease is bad enough.
Yeah.
When my wife was in the hospital, there was a little elderly lady next to her in the other bed. And I remember that they come in one afternoon, evening, whatever it was, and they pulled that curtain around, but you couldn't help but hear them. She had no one.
Yeah.
And the social lady or the case lady, whomever it was, sat down with her, and she called her by name, and she talked to her, and she said different things. And one of the things that just pierced my heart was when she said, "No, I have no one, and I have nowhere to go," because she was too sick to go back home. So they was trying to get her out of the hospital.
Yeah.
She was going to be in hospice care and find a place to put her in that place for care.
Yes.
And I thought, oh my goodness, the disease is bad enough.
Yes.
But then to face something like this
by yourself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When the first time when my mom Espenlaub went into for chemo, we didn't know what to expect. I mean, the oncologist told us, they're going to do this and do that.
Yes.
When we went in, and they brought this great big box, this big lead box that took a dolly to move it around and stuff. And I thought, my goodness. And then they went through some kind of protocol to open it up, and then inside that was something else, and they took out these things, this stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought, my goodness, what is in that stuff that you got to transport it in a lead box inside another box? Were you taken back by that type of thing?
No, actually, this one was a lot different. They wheeled in like an IV type cart thing, like when you're in the hospital. So they wheeled that in, and my wife had to sign for like the different chemo drugs, and they double checked as far as like her name, her social security number, and everything to make sure that they gave her the right bags and everything. So, but yeah, it was just the IV rack, and then they just programmed it to pump the certain drugs in at a certain time.
How many times or how many treatments did she have to have?
She had a total of 8. She only was supposed to have 6, but they wanted to make sure that everything was clear, so they took her to 8 treatments. And her hair, she's had her hair the whole time, and her hair didn't fall out until her 8th treatment. But as soon as it fell out, the next following week, it grew back even faster.
Wow. I remember my wife losing her hair, and it was like, wow.
Yeah.
It was like an emotional shock or an emotional breakdown.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the book, Husband, Best Friend, and Caregiver by Anthony Randle. Now look,
Mhm.
this is where you get it as soon as I find the right spot. Go to Amazon.com. Type in the search box, Husband, Best Friend, and Caregiver, and Anthony's book will pop right up. You can read a little sample there. You can read the reviews. There's some tremendous reviews. Read those reviews. Read that sample. Uh, and I can almost guarantee you, once you read that sample, you're going to get this book. You can get it paperback or Kindle. So please make sure you do that. Your journey was hard. What
Yes.
what are some of the emotions that you went through, Anthony, as this whole journey took place?
The emotions, fear, definitely fear of the unknown, anger. The anger came from um, me being a husband and my wife's best friend, and not noticing it myself. And and definitely as a man of the house, you always want to have the answer for everything. You want to protect your family, and a part of me felt like I had failed, uh, taking care of my wife. So with having that, and then like I said, with the fear, those are pretty much the main emotions I had. So
There was a real inward struggle going on too, wasn't there?
yes, it was. I had the worst case of PTSD. So the worst case of PTSD, if a lot of people don't know, you're constantly having uh, suicide thoughts, and um, they come so fast. You could be having a good day, or you could be just taking your dogs for a walk. You could be doing anything that makes you happy, but these thoughts will just pop up in your head, just rapid fire, rapid fire, rapid fire. And you have to learn how to like push them down. So I had to learn how to push them down very quickly in order to be there fully, mentally and physically with my wife. So
Going back to this doctor out in the hallway,
yes,
and he said he regrets that he couldn't. Of course, he was what 18 years old,
yeah, he was 18 and 19. He was 18 when his mom first got diagnosed.
and he really didn't have no support system.
No, he did not. He was going, taking time off from class, and he pretty much took his mom pretty much to every doctor he could in California, and then he said he traveled as far as Arizona as well.
And he challenged you, don't give up.
Hmm.
During
Yes.
this whole ordeal,
Hmm.
were there times that it crossed your mind, should I leave? And then other times, no, I'm going to stay. Uh, did you go through a battle such as that?
Yeah, that fight or flight moment. Yes, yes, I did. And it was like it overwhelmed. It overwhelmed the love. Anything that you feel for a person, that fight or flight thing will overtake that. I know a lot of people probably listening and say, "Well, I love my wife, I love my husband," and trust me, I love my wife too. But it's the thing that will just overtake uh, a lot, and then you have to kind of fight through that and process everything. And once I did, and like I said, I was dealing with PTSD too, so I had to remove that out of my head in order for me to do what I needed to do to help my wife.
So when that battle of the mind was
Yes.
taking place,
hmm
was it a one-time battle, or every now and then here it come
It,
again?
it was every now and then. So when I started to figure everything out, it was playing a scenario in my head. It was playing different scenarios. Like one scenario, I could literally see my wife on the bed, you know, passing away. And then I had to come to the realization, okay, I'm playing a movie up in my head. That event hasn't happened yet.
Mhm.
And then with my PTSD, like I said before, I was having those events where I was killing myself. And then I realized, like, wait a minute, okay, these events haven't happened yet. This whole scenario is playing up in my head. So once I started doing that and realizing, okay, all these scenarios hasn't happened yet. So therefore, uh, we can change the outcome because these events are just reels just playing up in my head. So that's how I was able to overcome everything, realizing that everything that was playing in my head wasn't real. What we were going through, all of this stuff, this is real. Everything that's going on in my head is not real. And once I did that, that's when everything started to die down inside my head, and I was able to do what I needed to do to take care of my wife and support my wife.
My grandmother used to say, Georgie, and she was only about yay big,
Yeah.
but mean and tough. I'll tell you what,
hmm
nobody wanted to mess with Grandma, but she used to say, Georgie, if I was fretting about something down the road,
Yeah.
you're not even near the bridge yet. I don't know why you're fussing about it.
hmm
And when you get to the bridge, it'll be different than what you're fussing about. So
Exactly.
stop
That's it.
it. But that's what goes on, that battle, that
hmm
vicious battle of the mind, uh,
Yes.
that if we're not careful and we don't process it and think it through like you did, uh,
hmm
it can literally drive someone insane.
Yes, it can. Yes.
I don't, and I'm sure you know this by now. Sometimes we have to stop and ask ourselves, or say to ourselves, "Now, wait a minute here, bub. You're not the only guy that's ever went through this,
Exactly.
or you're not the only lady that ever went through this.
hmm
Now, you got to get a hold of yourself,
Yes.
and you got to get straightened up
hmm
if you're going to be any good uh, to yourself, much less anybody else."
Yes.
During this whole time, uh, Anthony, did your faith grow?
Yes, it did. Um, I had a dream, and I remember going to sleep, and right before we went to sleep, my wife was in the bed with me, and the doctors had explained to her, about her breast being uh, taken removed, and she started crying and stuff, when we was talking about it, and she said, will you still love me, if my breast is removed? And I told her, I said, look, I said, I fell in love with you, you're the spirit that's inside this body. I said, I didn't fall in love with the body. I said, I fell in love with your spirit. So I said, no, I said, I'm not going anywhere. And that night I went to bed, and I definitely remember, because my grandmother, like your grandmother, we had some wise grandmothers. And, my grandmother, she passed years ago. And I remember my grandmother always told me, she said, when you find yourself to where you don't have an answer or you need some help, she said, you just say a little prayer and just ask for help. She said, a lot of times people don't ask for help. And she said, when you get to that point, she said, you ask for help. So, and, and I asked for help. I asked for help from God and my grandmother. And like I said, and that night I went to sleep, and I remember, and it was so real. I was sitting, I was at a funeral, and it was pouring down raining, and my son was across the casket on the other side, and he was staring at me. And I remember looking at him, and he kind of looked at me, and he dropped his head, and he was just kind of shaking his head. And it was a small casket, and at the time I'm looking at the casket like, okay, well, who is this? And next thing you know, I was whisked off, and I was in the hospital room, and I went in. I was in the hospital room, and next thing you know, Jess was in the bed, and next thing you know, I could hear her thoughts in this dream, and I had left her. And the thing that overwhelmed me was, even though I had left her in this scenario, I could still feel the love that she had for me after I left her. In that time, she was sitting there literally dying, and she was thinking about what I was doing. And I came out of that whole thing, and I remember jumping up out of the bed, and I was in tears, and I remember going into the closet, and I literally sat in that closet, and I don't know how many hours I cried. But when I came out of that closet, I was totally different.
Wow. I read in the sample portion of your book also that was it Jess's mom that had cancer?
Yes, she did. She passed away from brain cancer.
And you were the last person that spoke to her on the phone, and then she passed away.
Yes, I was. I talked to her mom. Jess was just arriving in Massachusetts, and I was waiting at the hotel to go pick her up. And her mom had called me, and I was talking to her, and told her that I said I was waiting to pick Jess up from the airport, and then we're gonna drive to Pennsylvania. And she said that well, she said, I just want to make sure you guys are okay. And I told her, I said, no, I said, you know what? You don't have to worry about your daughter. I said, I'm going to always be there to take care of your daughter. And she said, I know you. She said, I know you will. And she said, I want to let you know that I love you and Jess very much. And I told her, I said, okay. I said, don't worry. I said, we'll be there. As soon as I hung up, I mean, it was just seconds. My wife's cousin called me back and said, I don't know what you just said to her, but as soon as you got off the phone with her, she passed away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anthony, would it be possible, and I'll understand if you say no, would it be possible for Jess to come into the picture?
Yes. Yeah, I think she's probably listening to it. Yeah, I can go get her right quick.
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, now you're going to meet Anthony's wife, Jess. I think this will be delightful. I hope you're enjoying this tonight because this is oh my goodness, there she is. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, and countrymen, we not only have Anthony, but we have Jess.
Hi, everybody.
I talked to you on the telephone. You were chipper, upbeat. It seems to me that you're always that way, or most of the time.
Yeah, pretty much. That's me.
So, how are you doing?
Well, I feel great. I'm healthier now than I have been in a long time, and constantly just tweaking things here and there and sticking with the alternative therapies and those things the wellness things, that they keep my spirit up and they keep my body healthy in a cleaner and more natural way. So just doing that kind of thing and just living life each day at a time and just loving it.
Oh my, what an inspiration! What an inspiration! You have a full-time job, just taking care of Anthony, right?
Yeah, I would call that a full-time job. Yes.
Uh, if my wife was on tonight with us, she would tell you that 51 years now, uh, she's been taking care of me, and I have always told her. I think I told you this on the telephone. The reason why our marriage has lasted 51 years plus now is,
Yeah.
and I always told her, if you ever leave me, I'm going with you.
I remember that. Yes. I
Yeah,
like that. I'm going to use that one.
yeah. You use that on Anthony. If you ever leave me, I'm going with you. That's kind of like sealing this thing with concrete. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yes.
uh, Jess, you look lovely. I mean
Thank
that.
you.
You look lovely. Uh,
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we couldn't have had two lovelier people on the show tonight. I mean that, Jess. I do.
Well, it's very kind of you to say. Thank you.
We couldn't have two more lovelier people than Jess and Anthony with us tonight. What a miraculous story. And just sit there a minute, Jess,
Okay.
because I'm going to put Anthony's book up here.
Okay.
If I can push the right button. There's the book, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I have stayed away from as much of the book as I possibly could, for the sole purpose is I want you to get this book. It's I think it's 130 some pages or something like that, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Husband, Best Friend, and Caregiver by Anthony Randle. Now look, here's where you go. You go right here. Go to Amazon.com and then just type up there in that little search thingy box, husband, best friend, and caregiver. And I'll guarantee you that thing right there will pop up. Husband, best friend, and caregiver. Paperback, Kindle, it's your choice. I know that Miss Cassandra, she's on here. She's from Arkansas. She already said that she would be getting this book, because I know she's an avid reader, and when she said she's going to get something, I know Miss Cassandra. She's going to get it. So I would encourage everybody, everywhere, for you that are listening and watching live, and for you that are going to see the replay of this video in other places, go get this book. There is the lady, Jess. They call you Jessie?
Jess or Jessica?
Jessica or Jess?
Yeah.
Just Jess. Okay.
Jess is good.
I got you. All right. If I could find these right buttons again, I'm telling you, and it's right in front of my face. Let me bring this back down so we can see you. So you're feeling good.
Yes.
You look lovely.
Thank you.
The prognosis good.
Prognosis is excellent.
Oh, it's excellent. Oh, thank you. Thank you for those good words.
2 thumbs up.
That's right. 2 thumbs. 2 thumbs. If we had more than 2, we'd put them up too.
Exactly.
Everybody that's listening and watching from everywhere, put 2 thumbs up. Be careful if you're driving, though, because
yeah.
Well, you can still hold on to the wheel. Yeah. Where there's a wheel, there's a way, right? No
Absolutely.
Yeah. But wow, we certainly have enjoyed tonight, because we not only had Anthony, the author of this book, we have his lovely wife, Jess, and there she sits. There she sits. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story, and everyone needs to read this thing now. Jess.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You have anything else you want to say before we let you go and bring Anthony back?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody who's watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you get the book and read it, I I hope that it can enhance your life through our journey the way that we have enhanced our lives through all of this. I hope that it gives you hope if you need some. I hope that it gives you comfort if you need that. Whatever you need, I hope that the book can give that to you. So thank you, everybody.
Not only the book, Jess, but just people seeing you and listening to Anthony
Yeah.
will give people hope. There's a scripture that before I let you go, it goes something like this: weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning.
That's nice.
And I think you've got that joy. Will you bring Anthony back for us real quick? Thank you so much.
Sure will. Thank you, George.
My, oh my, oh my, oh my.
Hey, George.
Anthony, that was delightful.
That
was delightful. Listen, not only did we get to see and hear you tonight, but it was just beautiful that we got to see and hear Jess.
Thank you.
Through the storms, through the valleys.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? Somebody wrote a song recently. If it doesn't, I need my mom here because she always reminds me. But anyhow, if it doesn't, whatever, if it doesn't kill me, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying.
It'll make you better. And we have grown, and we've grown a lot.
My, oh my, oh my. Tremendous. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time before we let Anthony go, here's the book. And here is the link. Amazon.com. Just type in there, husband, best friend, and caregiver. It will intrigue you. Is it about 130 some pages, Anthony?
Yeah, about 130 some pages. But it's like you said, it's one of those books where, like I said, I put my emotions into the book and everything. So you're like right there along with me through that journey. So.
Yeah, when I read a book, and my wife and I are both avid readers, when I read a book, as soon as I get into it, if I can see it playing in my mind as it's being written or as I'm reading it, then I know that this is going to be a humdinger. And the minute that I started reading that sample part, I knew that this was going to be a humdinger. And it is indeed a humdinger. You will be there. You will be there, ladies and gentlemen. You can't help. When you start reading this thing, you will be inside. Everything else around you is kind of get like a little hazy and off in the distance because you're going to be in this bubble and you're going to stay there. I'll guarantee you that once you start reading this, this is one of those reads that you begin and you don't put it down until you're done. I think that's one of those kind of reads. So please get this book. Anthony, it has been a delight, my friend. And here's what I would like to do. As your journey continues, in the future, come on back.
I will.
And keep us posted. What we'll do is we'll put this thing out there. There's Mr. Ed Temple. He's a friend of mine out of Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
He said, awesome. It is. And then Miss Cassandra, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. Oh my.
Yeah.
Then that might be one of your friends. I'll be looking.
Yes, it is. Santiago, yes.
Yeah. I'm telling you, this modern technology, Anthony, you know what I mean? Distance is no problem anymore, is it?
No, it's not.
I think it's pretty cool. Even me in my old age, I love this. I love this technology and what we can do with it and reach out to touch people.
Yeah, definitely.
My friend, we want you to come back at a future date. Keep us posted on this journey.
We will.
You have a lovely wife.
Thank you.
You are a prince of a man. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to being with us tonight on this show. You've got my phone number. You've got my email address. Listen, you call me anytime, anytime.
Thank you, George.
You contact me anytime.
Okay.
All righty?
Yes, I will.
All right, man. I love you, brother.
Love you too, and thank you. And I'm very grateful for you having me on your show. Thank you.
No problem. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my, oh my, oh my, oh my. I do want to. I do want to do this tonight before we go because this is Friday night and we're always goofy. Well, we're goofy all the time, but we're more goofier on Friday night. But you know, it's been a number of years, and my mom, she's had both of her knees replaced. I think one was in 1997 and one was in 2000 something or another. But it's been a long period of time. Well, we have a video of her last operation, and we'd like to show this to the people. We're going to wind this down. It's kind of thorough, and you can only as we closed out that live stream. It was a tremendous show that night, 1 week ago tonight, that we live streamed Anthony Randle, his lovely wife Jess, and presented the book that he wrote, A Husband, Best Friend, and Caregiver. I hope that you enjoyed this tonight. And look, if you want to see the live stream, go to Facebook and type in there in that little search box thing, The George Espenlaub Show. It'll take you to our radio show page. And there you can watch. You can see Anthony. You can see Jess. But I would encourage you to do that. And not only that, but I would encourage you to go to Amazon.com. Type in the search, A Husband, Best Friend, and Caregiver. And Anthony's book will jump right up at you. Read the sample, read the reviews, and then get the book, because it's an inspiring story. You will feel the emotions as Anthony sat down and put the pen to the paper and wrote this book. Wow. I say wow a lot because sometimes I can't find the right word. Just wow. Sometimes wow isn't even sufficient enough, but for lack of a better term, wow. Tremendous story. I do want to say this before we leave tonight. I just got off the phone earlier this evening with Anthony. Jess will be going in for surgery on Monday. I believe it's Monday the 2nd, for some reconstructive surgery. Nothing that pertains to her cancer. She'll be in there. So please, throughout the weekend and during Monday, it's a 4 to 6 hour operation. Just uphold her in prayer. Just take her before the throne and ask God to guide the hands of the surgeon, that she'll have a quick recovery. They're a beautiful couple. And we're going to post the video up on the Espenblog.com. Then we've got another video that they just sent me tonight. In fact, I didn't even open it up, didn't even download it yet. We're going to paste that up there on the Espenblog.com. I'm so far behind. I sometimes wonder where I'm at. We have so much catching up to do around here, but we're moving forward as we try to catch up. So, I thank Anthony. I thank Jess. I thank you for tuning in. And remember, if you couldn't tune in tonight, you can always come back and listen to this again. Just go to the George Espenlaub Show on Spreaker.com and you can listen to any one of the previous radio shows. You can even download it. It don't cost you a nickel. Just download it, do with it what you want, distribute it to your friends, put it on your blogs, put anywhere you want to put it. Not only that, you can listen to our radio show on iHeartRadio, Spotify, VIP Network, and it goes on and on and on and on. I will say this in closing tonight. Excuse me. Someday I'm going to get over this cold. I will say this in closing tonight. We announced at the beginning of the show that we are going to be taking on 2, possibly 3 new programs to add to the George Espenlaub Show. We want to reach out and touch all people from every walk of life. And so we are considering that we're going to take another 2, possibly 3 more shows on that we might broadcast here on the George Espenlaub Show. And we'll be making some announcements possibly over the weekend or the earlier part of the week. So stay tuned with that. Go to the George Espenlaub Show on Facebook. That's the George Espenlaub Show on Facebook. And there, follow and like our page. Please do that. And not only that, our live stream videos that's on there, all of them's there. Start a watch party. Because when you start a watch party on Facebook, people that's on your feed will get to see it because you started the watch party. And more people will be able to see these inspiring true life stories of people that we have had on the previous 3 or 4 weeks. Tremendous guests and more to come. So do that for us. Go to the George Espenlaub Show on Facebook. Follow and like that page. And then start a watch party with our videos. Get those on your feed. And so the people that are your friends and your family can see. And you'll be helping us out, putting us out into the masses. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this concludes another week of broadcasting. Wow. I trust that you had a great Thanksgiving yesterday. Yep, I ate too much. I really did. I have to admit, I ate too much. But I'm right now. I'm okay now, as far as okay is. Thank you for tuning in this week. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your kind words. Wherever you're at, if it's nighttime, have a great night. If it's already daytime, have a great day. But regardless of where you're at, what time it is, until sometime this weekend, we'll be back in with our Unshackled episode again. We just like to play that as often as we can. Unshackled, that's a program we run out of Chicago that's produced and directed by Pacific Garden Mission. So sometime during the weekend, we'll be running another episode of Unshackled, and then we'll be back Monday night and start this thing all over. As one man said, if the good Lord's willing and the creeks don't rise. But regardless of where you are, down the street, around the corner, across America, or somewhere around this great big world. Until next time, from all of us here at the Funny Farm, the whole gang, we thank you for tuning in. Delighted that you could stop by, pass the word, and we'll be so appreciative of whatever you can do to help us out. So until the next time, I just trust that God will keep you right in the center of his hand. And with that, good night, everyone.